Throughout history, the role that Romanian women play in the family, community, politics, and more has undergone numerous changes. Nowadays, they enjoy equal rights. They are able to work outside the home and compete for jobs with men. But it hasn't always been like this. During the 19th and 20th centuries, the woman's role in society was portrayed in numerous works of art, most notably paintings and books. Renowned Romanian painters such as Nicolae Grigorescu and Ștefan Lucian have created paintings depicting the duties a woman was expected to do. Women fulfilled the family responsibilities and bore the burden of house chores, while the men were out working. The paintings show them cooking for their families on traditional stoves in ceramic vessels. Their food consisted more of polenta made from cornmeal, accompanied on fasting days only by salt, onion, or garlic. Romanian women were often depicted working with a loom or threading wool. They took pride in their creations as they became part of their dowry. The bigger and better their dowry, the more chances they had of getting a good husband. Bringing water home was another one of their chores. They would go to the nearest fountain, which could be as far as a few kilometers away from home, fill their huge pitchers with water, and then return home while carrying them in their arms or even on top of their heads. Women were also supposed to care for the family's livestock by feeding them corn or taking them to graze. When time came to collect the corn and the grains, the whole family would go to the field with their dray and work together to finish the job. Every Sunday, without fail, they would take a bath, dress themselves and their children in the best clothes they owned, and then go to church together. Most Romanian people were Orthodox Christians, and at that time religion was a very important aspect for everyone. Holidays were always respected, and no one would dare to do any work on such a day. Both women and men would wear their traditional costumes on holidays, but there were people who wore it even when they worked. Hearing all this, you might be inclined to think that all women did was work. Fortunately, that is not entirely true. Their main source of entertainment was dancing. Once in a while, everyone would gather in the middle of the village to dance, drink, and chat with one another. However, women who were a part of the high society lived a completely different life. During their free time, they took part in numerous activities, such as balls, horse or car races, trips in the country and abroad, tennis, or even horseback riding. Dancing teas were also popular, the most fashionable dances being waltz, tango, charleston, or foxtrot. Other activities meant to relieve boredom, including attending the theater, opera, cinema, and exhibitions. Concerns about fashion were common, both out of the desire for beauty and the desire to display social status. At the time, it was said that a woman's dress was a mirror of her husband's prosperity.
Women have always been an inspiration in the art field, so I will present you the most representative one in our literature. Let's start with Mara, the protagonist of Ivan Slavich's novel. Although a widow, this ambitious woman is the embodiment of strength, motherly affection, and entrepreneurial competence. The theater of the 19th century is dominated by Zoe Trahanache, the female protagonist from A Lost Letter by Ile Caragiale. She is a refined bourgeois woman who manages to make her way into politics, even though it was impossible for a woman to involve in such things at that time. In the 20th century, Mihail Sadoveanu portrays the atypical female detective called Vitoria Lipan. She is a simple, uneducated woman, yet intuitive, who reveals the secret behind her husband's mysterious death. Last but not least, Camille Petrescu presents the first intellectual woman of the Romanian literature in the 20th century. Lady T, the mysterious and independent character of Procrustes' bed, makes her own money from a little stylish furniture shop.
There comes a moment in everyone's life when they meditate on the passage of time and wait two terms, the past and the present. Thus, only the traditions and customs have survived the passage of time.
For many years now, Romania was known for some of the most beautiful national costumes. The folk costume is an element of national identity. They can be divided into 7 folk regions. It has the same structure, mostly throughout the country, but differs chromatically and decoratively from one region to another.
Back then, people wore a full costume both on holidays and weekdays. Today it is worn very rarely and only on important holidays, especially by the elders who grew up with them and still keep the tradition going. The full costume is starting to become attractive again to young people, the traditional motifs being adopted in various creations of contemporary designers. For example, the fashion house Christian Dior, who copied a Romanian coat. Our country is one of the few ones in the world where in the 2000s some people from the village still wore traditional costumes on weekdays, not only on certain celebrations.
We have been taught that a nation without tradition is without a future. As proof of respect for the history of our people, many customs have been preserved and are still practiced today. It is well known that humans, in life on earth, go through 3 very important moments which are connected to our religion: baptism, wedding, and burial. The baby, shortly after birth, is baptized to cleanse himself, entering the state of grace. Then, when they reach adulthood, they get married. In the past, the wedding party lasted 3 days and 3 nights.
A beautiful past habit of Romanians were the traditional dances. On Sundays, after the holy ceremony, people used to gather in the heart of the village to cherish the day off together. The peasants played hora, brul, botuta, sârba, depending on the region.
An interesting fact about some of the oldest buildings that made up a normal mountain village from the Carpathian Mountains, plains or hills, is that they can still be admired today at the village museum. However, there are still many populated villages where we can find our traditional houses having some specific elements: a porch with wooden pillars, oriels, stone foundations, and large thatched roofs.
In the 21st century, technology is indispensable. With all the information at our fingertips, we have been able to dig into the past, discovering valuable things. We are now able to learn about our traditions and not let them perish, to keep alive the memory of our ancestors, finding out our roots and our own history. Maybe, like 100 years ago, our ancestors searched for their past too, in old books and dusty archives, but with the same curiosity as us. Different times, different lives, but language and traditions have remained the ones that united us from the past to the present day, so it is our duty to cherish it.
Women have been oppressed throughout history, which is the reason why feminism was created. Thanks to this movement, women managed to acquire a series of rights which empowered them to fight for gender equality. The right to vote was their first achievement. The process was accelerated by the First World War and its aftermath. Women in 28 more nations gained equal voting rights with males, or the right to vote in national elections between 1914 and 1939. Other nations, notably Romania, were added to the list shortly after the Second World War. Romanian women only gained full political rights in 1946, following a continuous struggle that was as complicated as the historical environment in which it took place. Another important success is represented by earning their right to education in the 19th century. Ana Bota was the first Romanian woman who went to university. This event took place in Iași in 1879, when the woman decided to open doors for all the girls who wanted to show off their intelligence. Obtaining a higher education enabled women to explore a wide range of occupations, formerly exclusive for males. Many women, for example, work as teachers in schools, while others opt to serve in the National Army as soldiers, police officers, or judges. Surprisingly, some women appear to have chosen a profession in medicine, such as doctors, nurses, or scientists, while others have risen to positions of power as politicians or businesswomen. Furthermore, women are interested in airline businesses and have obtained positions as pilots or flight attendants. Others go for journalist careers, whereas the more adventurous and competitive females choose a career in sports. Though females from rural areas seem to be prone to early school leaving due to ethnic traditions, the Romanian society has been evolving during the past 3 decades regarding the woman's roles. Nowadays, women run the most important businesses, such as OMV, which is the biggest company in the country, telecommunications companies. They were the first who raised the problem of fairness, injustice, and so on and so forth. The revolution from 1989 showed that women can do so much more than raise children and doing house chores.